Hey everybody, and thanks for coming back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about Roth IRAs. So just like my previous video on traditional IRAs, today I'm going to focus on the Roth IRA and if you're eligible to contribute to one. I'm going to go through a flow chart with you together so that we can make this really easy. It's pretty simple, so it's going to be a quick video. And with all that said, let's just jump right into it. So just like my previous video with the traditional IRA, we've got to start at the beginning. Are you or maybe your spouse working, and do you have earned income? Because if the answer to that is no, then I'm sorry, you can't make a contribution to a Roth IRA. But for everyone else that is working, if you have earned income, let's just keep going down that path so that we can figure out how your income may affect your eligibility on contributing to a Roth IRA. So let's quickly just start with, have you already made a contribution to a traditional IRA for the tax year? Because if the answer to that question is yes, then sorry, you're not eligible to make a full contribution to a Roth IRA, but you still may be eligible to make a partial contribution to a Roth IRA. And we can get into the details in that if you want to connect offline. I'm happy to chat with you about that. But just so you know, if you've contributed to a traditional IRA already, you might not be eligible to make that full contribution into a Roth IRA. But let's just keep going over to tax filing status. So again, if you are working or if you're married, if your spouse has earned income and you have not contributed to a traditional IRA, let's look at your tax filing status. And let's start with, if you are filing as a single person, we need to determine what your modified adjusted gross income is. And let's just start at the top. If your income is $140,000 or more, then sorry, you can't directly contribute to a Roth IRA. But if your tax filing is single and your income is less than $125,000 in that year, then yeah, you can make a full contribution to a Roth IRA. And that contribution limit, it's the same as the traditional IRA. It is $6,000, or if you're turning 50 or if you're 50 or older in 2021, that contribution limit is $7,000. So you get a little bit of an extra $1,000 to put into a Roth IRA. So again, if your income is $125,000 or less and you're filing as a single individual, then yeah, you can make that full contribution. If your income is somewhere between $125,000 and $140,000, then you may be eligible for a partial contribution, but that's something that we can chat with if you want to dig into the details on how that works. Let's go back to tax filing status and let's change the scenario. Let's assume that you're married, filing jointly. Again, we still need to figure out what your income is as a household. So that upper threshold for married filing jointly is $208,000. If you made more than $208,000 as a household, then sorry, you can't contribute to a Roth IRA. But if your income is less than $198,000 as a household, then yeah, you can make a full contribution to that Roth IRA up to the contribution limit. Now again, that's $6,000 if you're under the age of 50, $7,000 if you're 50 or turning 50 and older in 2021. Now again, these numbers, these figures are for 2021. If you'd like to get the 2020 numbers, again, let me know. I'm happy to send that to you. And of course, if you want to get a copy of this PDF, shoot me an email. I'm happy to send you a copy. The one distinction that I will make, if you watched my previous video, there were these different rules on if you are an active participant in your employer-sponsored retirement plan. So if you're contributing to your 401k at work, that may affect the eligibility for making a deductible contribution to a traditional IRA. Now you'll notice on this flow chart for the Roth IRA that active participant rule doesn't really come into play. It really does just matter what your modified adjusted gross income is for the year. So, you know, a little bit easier to determine if you can make a contribution or not into a Roth IRA. If you're interested in learning about the backdoor Roth IRA, or maybe you've heard about this thing called the mega backdoor Roth IRA contribution, I'm gonna make separate videos for those. So just know that if your income is above those thresholds for married filing jointly or for single, that there are other ways to get money into a Roth IRA. And like I said, I'm gonna follow up with future videos on that. My name is Alan Hensley. Thanks so much for checking this out. I'm a wealth advisor at Merriman Wealth Management here in Seattle, Washington. If you have more questions, please put a comment down below, send me a message. I'm happy to connect. And if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe and hit that like button. Thanks so much. Have a great day.